And I went out and tweeted, I said, imagine hinging your Bitcoin conviction on what some random old guy says about pieces of paper. Couldn't be me. Stay humble and stack sats. Because take a step back for a second. It's the reality of the situation. Some guy, I don't know much about the guy. He wasn't elected by me. He gets off a plane in Wyoming for some reason. Why Wyoming? Who knows? I have no idea. And he just decided to burden the American people with a more expensive life in the foreseeable future to the benefit of the government and all the mistakes that they made even before I was alive. And people sit and listen to that to decide if Bitcoin is important or not. You're missing the whole point. Have you lost your mind?
Jack Mallers talks Bitcoin, crypto, and the future of money. We'll cover innovation, challenges, and opportunities. Let's dive deeper together.
That's exactly why I use Bitcoin. I don't care what that guy has to say. That's the whole reason I use Bitcoin in the first place. I mean, this tweet was intended to show the generational gap and the big difference between analog and digital. You think people my age want to read a newspaper about what some old guy said about pieces of paper? My generation has gotten demolished by this system. I don't care what he says. I'll go, there's a next chapter here about housing affordability. These people have utterly destroyed the quality of life of my generation. I've given this speech in Prague, so I'm not going to get into it too much. But my friends have killed themselves and committed suicide. My friends have gotten addicted to alcohol and opioids. There's a record level of antidepressants being consumed by people my age. And to watch this guy stroll on up and say, yeah, inflation's real, but we need to finance the government. This is exactly why I don't own a single dollar. You will not catch me with a positive net worth in USD. It is disgusting. And so, anyways, if it wasn't any more clear, did tariffs solve our problem? No. And if your Ford stock goes down, now you know why. Not their fault. I mean, it's a $2 billion hit they just took. And if your buddy gets fired, can't afford a home, misses rent payments, delinquencies on his credit card, becomes an alcoholic, sorry, tariffs, bro. They do nothing to the deficit. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
The world of cryptocurrency in 2025 has produced some of the wealthiest and most influential leaders in the financial space. At the top of the list is Changpeng CZ Zhao, whose net worth is estimated at nearly $63 billion. Despite stepping down as Binance CEO, his holdings in the exchange and BNB tokens still make him the undisputed leader of the crypto billionaire class. Close behind is Giancarlo Devasini, the force behind Tether, whose $22.4 billion fortune comes from the dominance of USDT, the most traded asset in the digital economy. Coinbase's Brian Armstrong continues to thrive with an estimated $10 billion net worth, while Michael Saylor stands tall as Bitcoin's loudest bull, his company's strategy holding hundreds of thousands of BTC. Ripple's Chris Larson, Stellar's Jed McCaleb, and Galaxy Digital's Mike Novogratz also secured top spots, each carving influence through tokens, protocols, and institutional finance. Meanwhile, Barry Silvert's digital currency group, Bijan Tehrani's Stake.com, and Ethereum's Vitalik Buterin highlight just how diverse the paths to crypto wealth have become. From exchanges to entertainment and groundbreaking protocols, these leaders shape an industry now valued at $3.8 trillion. The race for the top never slows. Tomorrow's billionaires may already be building in silence today.
Do you understand? That's what Bitcoin is for. That's why Bitcoin should not be compared to Ethereum, to Dogecoin, to Solana, any of that crap. Because money, the size of money, is about $500 trillion. It's about half of all the things we own today we've monetized because we've just created value and we just want to bring it with us tomorrow. And central banks and governments have robbed us of that ability to do that with fiat because they print it and they debase it. And so we have to look to alternatives to bring the value we've created with us tomorrow. Bitcoin restores that for everyone. So in the future, Bitcoin's price will rise because all wealth looking to be carried forward into the future will be saved in Bitcoin. And it'll bring down the price of all other market goods that have incorrectly been monetized. Because that's the thing. You know, if I've learned anything in my life so far, change comes with action. It doesn't come with words. You know, there's two powerful forms of expression. Words and exit. And when words are no longer sufficient, exit is the only answer. And so the way I like to think about Bitcoin is nobody was listening. So we built the alternative ourselves. You know, if you're my age, I would say stop waiting for the Fed to cut rates, stop waiting for mortgage rates to lower, stop waiting for the right president. Stay humble and stack sats is the only way you're going to be able to raise your kid with a yard. Bitcoin is the only solution that doesn't rely on protests, it doesn't rely on politicians, it doesn't rely on changing someone else's mind. And so what do we see? We see more pensions piling into Bitcoin. This is New York State Common Retirement Fund, $200 billion fund. They are embracing Bitcoin. Next, Air Canada's pension fund reveals a $161 million Bitcoin allocation. This is Canada's first large pension fund with a Bitcoin allocation. So it will just keep coming. I expect pensions, endowments, and sovereigns. You're going to lose with bonds and stocks. The 60-40 portfolio is dead. We've said it on the show a million times. We're going to continue to be proven right. I'm very, very, very confident in that.
Bitcoin has just flashed a rare bottom signal as short-term holders drive the market into an oversold zone not seen often. At 107K, data shows these holders, anyone holding BTC for less than 6 months, have hit a break-even point where their cost basis matches the spot price. Historically, this moment has signaled exhaustion for sellers and has acted as a launchpad for rebounds in previous bull cycles. Analyst Frank Fetter highlighted that the market value to realize value for short-term holders has now sitting at a level that when combined with Bollinger Bands confirms a major oversold print. The last 2 times this happened were during sharp corrections in 2024 and April 2025, both marking long-term bottoms. At the same time, Bitcoin's RSI on lower timeframes is showing bullish divergence, hinting that momentum may already be shifting upward. While short-term risks remain, this rare alignment of signals suggests Bitcoin may be gearing up for its next major reversal. If you have been watching so far, thank you so much for watching, and do not forget to subscribe to Bitcoinzilla for daily news all for free. That's all for today's video. Until next time.